I guess I'm doing this more for helping me remember, like, at least what I saw go on. I have never in my 64 years ever seen as big of a crap fest of an election than I did on the November 7th cycle in Mountainair, New Mexico. Good God, I don't even know where to begin. So, the mayor, Peter Nieto, openly posted on his Facebook account, vote for X, Y, and Z. They're all his buddies and his lackeys. And he actually had the audacity to put up there, gee, the write-in candidate, Michelle Archuleta, and I'll say her name because it looks like she won. She's got pins with her name on it. So you come by and pick up one of those pins to take into the polls with you so that you spell her name right. That was going on. The little local supposed news source does a whole hit piece on the incumbent, who said he vetted his quote unquote research through whitepages.com, and I'm just laughing about that. Just listed out a litany of supposed cases that he quote unquote verified, just to trash the incumbent because he's part of the, I call him the Sure Crew. Yeah, he hasn't printed a retraction yet. But if you go, if you're interested, go to the Mountainair, New Mexico page. I believe that stuff's posted there. The candidate for judge is actually a private investigator. He went through and vetted that supposed newspaper guy's claims, and the bulk of them were other people. Yet they're sticking to their guns on that. And what really is laughable about all of that is Mountainair is like all these other small towns in rural New Mexico and probably across America. Everybody, I'm not kidding you, everybody that lives there for any length of time, they know your business. They know if you've been drunk. They know if you've hit your wife. They know if you're a drug addict. They know if you got a freaking speeding ticket. And so that's why I find that whole thing with that supposed newspaper guy absolutely laughable. And, the whole community there is drama driven. And the one thing I can say, in my opinion, about Peter Nieto, when he got on that council, the circus came to town. It's nothing but maligning, bullying, lies, twists, innuendo. In a recent town meeting, this is the audacity of this guy. Ernie Lopez, who was the incumbent, he's been hard pushing against corruption and wrongful financial activity by the mayor, and nothing but pushback. And so he brought it up over and over and over again. And the mayor, aka Peter Nieto's stance was, so what if I did something wrong? What's going to happen? An audit finding. Who the hell even thinks like that? I mean, to me, that says how egotistical he is and what an egomaniac he is. And he has absolutely nothing's going to stop this guy from wrongfully processing until a state agency or a citizen sues him into oblivion. He invites lawsuits. He says, go ahead and take me to court. Really? And he's working in the best interest of that community? I think not. Basically, I live there, and I eat there, and I crap there, and I go to my job. I used to be very strong supporter of that community, and I just can't do it anymore. It's the most ridiculous place I've ever seen, and there's question after question after question. I invite anybody to get off of the drama train and go look at data-driven facts and really look at what's going on. If you just start with the finances, it'll blow your mind. Let's talk about the Mountainair Drive-In movie theater. Let's talk about that little project. That was way back in the beginning of his first cycle. And they were taking donations for that. None of those donations were running through the town's books. Somebody step up, go do some IPRA on that. I invite you to. It was all supposedly donations. He got the electric cooperative to donate poles and manpower to put up the backboard to run films on. The first movie or two, I don't know how many he'd ran, he went and bought DVDs and what do you call it, a projector to project those movies from that DVD up onto the screen. Oh, he got them for $9.99. He was charging 10, $20 a carload to get in there. And it was brought up that, gee, he probably had to pay some kind of a license to use that stuff. And he said, it's mine. I'll do what I want with it. Well, long story short, somewhere along the line, something happened to where he all of a sudden realized, gee, I need to do a license. That one thing alone was never, ever approved by town council. Peter just did it. And the council, no offense to them, they just go along for the ride. The way Mountainair town government has worked for years and years and years, the council people sit back and the mayor does what they want. And they're okay with that. Your council people over there are okay with that because they figure at the end of the day, he's the only one that's going to get in trouble. Well, I'm hoping the change in qualified immunity actually educates them a little bit, because what's going on over there is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life. You got the mayor using city pumping equipment for his rental units when there was flooding. He tries to mull all that off. I mean, I can keep going, and yeah, his strongest supporters are going to say, "Oh, it's sour grapes because I lost an election." Are you kidding me? That was the best thing on the planet that ever happened to me. I don't need to be elected. I have more power and strength as an individual citizen challenging government. And the more I see and the more time I spend there, the less I like what I see going on. It's a welfare community, straight up. It's a welfare community. There's been no real economic income for jobs. There's been no real forward motion on improving that community. The population has dropped, a lot of it people dying, some of it people moving out. The new people coming in, they're from other places, and they think it's quaint. And, the sewers don't work right. There's problems with the water system. You can just go on and on. That's a failing municipality. Let's talk about their town clerk, Dennis Fulford. Known him for years. Used to have a lot of respect for him. He just got off a 6-month probation for getting involved in town family drama and wrongfully processing under town power where it should have never been. Call up Dennis and ask him why he was on a 6-month probation. I dare you to. Have fun with that, because let's see if he tells the truth. I don't think Dennis is a liar. But Dennis told me a long time ago, as the town clerk, his job is to make the mayor look good. How's that working for you? How does that work for you? If you ain't got a life, go back and pull their meeting minutes and just look at the back and forth between those people. Look at the back and forth between them. Valid considerations were tried to be brought forward. It didn't fit Nieto's agenda, so he abused, he bullied, he maligned, he wouldn't let it be heard. He wouldn't let the town council people represent. And the other thing that's going on over there, he runs them, they don't run him. And that's a big problem, in my opinion, in these smaller communities. The actual setup, the way that's supposed to function, the mayor is like a CEO. He's like a hireling. He don't have any real power other than what those council people give him. And these council people just roll over and he does what he wants and they rubber stamp it. The day is going to come, probably in the very near future, where if there's an actual forensic audit done on that community, there's going to be some big problems. And financially, it's going to probably bankrupt them. And then what's that community going to do, I don't know what to say, but I know I started off on the election. So here's what was going on with the election. You had the mayor openly campaigning from the meeting floor, on his social media, door-to-door junk, whatever you want to say. He openly campaigned to put his slate on the council. As an individual, he has every right to do what he wants politically, but he's wearing a different hat. He's wearing the CEO hat of the town of Mountainair, and everything he does is a representation of the entire governing body and the town. So his actions, in my opinion, are wrong. That's going to be vetted, by the way. Him openly campaigning out there outside the polling place. They were approximately 129 feet from the building, and they had people coming over there giving them flyers and pins and so forth to make sure they spelled that name correctly for his judge person, so that they prevail on the ballot. Now, without that assistance, would that person have won? Probably, because that family, the Archuleta family, is the biggest voting bloc in Mountainair. What do you say? If the community wants the circus that they've got, more power to them. I feel sorry for them because the parks, the parades, and the parties are not paying the bills for what needs to be happening. They got no cops. There's a lot of reasons why they ain't got cops. Anybody that's bored, gee, go check out all that activity. The judge that just got seated, what the hell are they going to judge? You got no cops. What are they going to process? How's that going to work? God almighty. Oh my God. I don't care. The best thing that could happen would be for the Lord God Almighty to point its finger at Mountainair and blow it off the map and leave the decent people that are still there alone and take out the rest of it. It's just a go nowhere kind of place. If you want to practice perversions, you want to have graft, you want to have corruption, you want to see people turn against their own family members and infighting. You want to watch pedophiles run wild. That's your community. That's where you need to be living. Sorry to say. And I should just shut up because I'm building some more bad karma for myself. But at this point, I don't really care. That town is a rolling shit show. I'll say it, a rolling shit show. As long as the freebies are coming in, they're going to be happy. But when the checkbook comes to a screeching halt, and there's problems that there's no tax base to cover, and the state government isn't going to be willing to open its wallet, and a county isn't going to be able to push money their direction, what are they going to do then? How's that going to work? I heard somewhere where the illustrious mayor's new idea is to offer a $39 an hour rate to a police chief. Really? Groovy. Where's that money coming from? Going back to that drive-in movie theater, from September of 1920 through September of 2022, 1920, excuse me, September of 2020 through September of 2022, they spent almost $15,000 on that one little project that was never vetted or approved by the town council. $15,000. What could a community like that do with $15,000? I guess they can go to the movies, right? $2 a pop, $10 a pop. So, right there's one example of piss poor fiscal management. And I don't know what to say, There's no business there generating GRT to cover most of what they're doing. If they start getting drilled down into, even the way they process grants are a problem, in my opinion. Looking at their check registers, looking at their credit card statements, that money is just flying all over the place. Oh, by the way, a lot of the expenditures that are getting processed are on the mayor's personal accounts, and he's getting reimbursed for it. There's on the surface, there may not be anything wrong with that. But when you've got a city government that has been in existence for years and years, you're going to tell me they don't have capacity as a city government to pay a bill without it running through the mayor's account. I mean, I pray to God somebody else besides me actually goes and looks. Get out of the drama pool down there. They like calling each other names. Almost everybody in that community's got so much dirt on them. If it started coming to the surface, they'd be mortified. So it's one big giant glass house with lots of rock throwing. And at the end of the day, that community is just going to keep going down, down, down. Now you got the Deer Canyon subdivision up there. Those are most of them are well educated. A lot of them are from back east, and they sit up there on that hill. They are not part of the Mountainair. They don't live in Mountainair city limits. That's who this current mayor has sitting on his boards and committees for planning and zoning. Hell, he just vetted hiring a town attorney through people that live outside the damn community. They're the Deer Canyon and other people outside of that particular subdivision. They're the ones that are doing the planning and zoning decisions and everything else. And my problem with that, should they be allowed to participate in the government? Sure, because eventually federal tax dollars roll downhill to them, just like county tax dollars do. But when it involves stuff that is legislative and punitive in nature, they shouldn't have a say. They shouldn't be on boards. They shouldn't be on committees. They shouldn't be on planning and zonings. They shouldn't be representing Mountainair on water boards, etc. And the reason I say that is the bulk of their activity affects the citizens that live there, but not them. They get to go up to their gated community or their rural property and close their door, and they're out of it. and the people that live there suck all that up. And so I don't know. I'm just so frustrated. I'm very happy I've secured a second home. At the point of my retirement, I'm leaving. And I'm sure that'll make lots of people there happy. And I'll be glad that I made them happy. I just don't care anymore. You go back to the stuff with the school system over there. The rape room story. Gee, if you didn't hear that, check on, I think it was KRQE 13 did some coverage on that. And all of a sudden that just fell off the radar. Really? You got on that little situation, everybody in town knows who it is, and I don't know if I could say who it is without getting myself in trouble, but the locals know. The young man and his buddy that was perpetrating all of that activity is tied directly in backdoor wise with the mayor and their family. It's one little handful of families that is running everything, and they're covering up for each other. Are you kidding me? If that would have been Albuquerque or Santa Fe, and even the thought of that taking place had happened, legitimate Title IX investigation would have rolled, and there would have been something going on with that. Well, so locally, what happened with that when that popped? People moved their kids out of that school system. The kids that were affected had a meeting, and vented, and that was kind of pretty much it. So is that a dead issue? I don't know. I have no idea. It's just ridiculous. Going back to the election thing, you look at our ballot. There were the one gal that was on there is rumored to live in Albuquerque or lived into an Albuquerque until this election came up. She was handpicked by the mayor. That's what's being said. Homeless, drug addict, mortgage lost, whatever. I don't know what her deal is. Don't know, don't care. She's the daughter of the judge candidate that the mayor was handing pins out for. How homey would that be? How homey would that be? The candidates running for the school board, one of them, and I'll say his name was no, I guess I won't. So I'm gonna go look it up. He was in the DA's office for his whole career out there in Torrance County. Dude's got a house in Moriarty, lived over there full time. And then all of a sudden he shows up on a ballot. Really? I looked into that. He's got 2 lots in the aforesaid Deer Canyon. And on the assessor's roll, it says he's only getting taxed for the land, no house. But that's his place of voting residence now. I find that really curious. I mean, there's so much crap that it's just it's a pile. If it was printed out, it'd probably take 14, 15 cases of paper. So anyways, I do know stuff keeps getting filtered upstream. It's typical New Mexico. The higher ups, they've lip service. Well, yeah, it's wrong. And then they circle around and then they come back to, if they take action here, it could affect some higher elected officials' bid for re-election. What are those people even doing in those offices? It's not supposed to be about their damn re-election. It's supposed to be doing the people's business. They're supposed to be servants and processing constitutionally. I'm sorry, I don't see it like that. And it's the Patron system in New Mexico, and it's living large in Mountainair, New Mexico. And I'll do a snarky prediction, and no disrespect to Espanola whatsoever. I actually like Espanola. I think it's a groovy community. But government-wise, that's exactly where Mountainair's headed. It's going to be another Espanola. And Mountainair doesn't have the ability to have something that's that's like a, what do you call it? I can't think of the word, like it's its thing. Espanola's got the lowrider thing. It's awesome. Mountainair ain't got nothing. They mimic and they want to be all the time. Anyway, I guess I'll end this because I'm just over it and I'm ranting. I apologize to anybody that endured me. And this is for Peter Nieto, okay? Because I know you watch my stuff. You go on ahead and you come at me. It better be righteous and it better be true. Because unlike a lot of people in that community, I'm not afraid of you. And I will openly state I have hardcore pushed to get you held accountable. And with the change on the seats in this election, that is not going to stop. So you, your mitoteros you got on your board, y'all do what you want to do. You go on ahead and you bring it, and I'll field it. If I'm wrong, I will admit it. But if you want to try coming at me with your bully tactics, you want to try to do something stupid like red flag me again, knock yourself out. I'm not afraid of you. I will take every resource at my disposal and I'll come right back at you. So game on. Game on. And do you think because you got your slate in, people are going to be quiet? I don't think so. A lot of people are sick of you. And your reversion point's going to be, oh, but look at the numbers at the polls. Well, my reversion point's going to be, there's enough people that if they put $100 on the table, there would be ample funds to lawyer up to come take you out of that seat. You should think about that. You should absolutely think about that. I know several people that if they weren't running in fear, have civil rights violations against you, your former police officers, and your staff. It's all back to that fear factor. So you can bully who you want. You can. and you can try to bully me, but I'm not afraid of you. So, do what you got to do and I will do the same. How's that? So anyway, long story short, I'm ranting. I apologize and we'll see. But anybody with a functioning brain cell, just go look at Mountainair like you were thinking of moving there. Look at the stuff on the school system. Look at the way the city government functions. Just drill down. Pretend like you're going to move into that community. Look at how many derelict houses are there. Oh God, that's a whole other one. Abatements. They've taken homes from people that should have been removed. So I'm not saying they shouldn't have been remediated. They should have been. But there's a process for that. They don't just wake up in the morning and go, yeah, my buddy over here, go get your truck and a backhoe and tear that house down. There's an adjudicative process that's supposed to take place. That wasn't happening. That didn't happen. Those people are just like most of the people in that community, undereducated. So I'd say those lot holders are undereducated, underfunded, and afraid to do anything about it. They got rolled over like a Sherman tank. They got rolled over like a freaking Sherman tank, and the town went and remediated and did what they did and cleaned those lots up. So then the next stage should be, let's look at all the property that's moving there. Who's buying what? What's the backstory on how they're picking that up? Kind of interesting. I'm not going to say anything. Everybody else needs to get off their butts and go work on this. If the bulk of that community enjoys what's going on there, more power to you. To people that are productive, that could add value to the community and actually bring it up from where it's at. I mean, it's a total crap fest. You run those people off or you try to silence them, you're going to get your wish. You're going to be like Bond, New Mexico, maybe Encino, New Mexico. I hate it for you. I am lucky enough that I have an exit position. I do. So I'm going to leverage my time there for what I need out of it, and then I'll be gone. I don't wish the citizens of that community any ill will. I don't. But they're bringing it on themselves, and you're going to get what you get. Okay, so thanks for hanging out with me, guys. I am so sorry I'm just ranting, but I am freaking entirely over it. New Mexico as a whole is a total crap fest, too. It starts with the governor's office. It comes down through the legislature, every municipal body, every county body. The court system here is derailed. It's the biggest mess of a state I've ever been in my life. And, I keep hearing this running comment, oh, it's just as bad other places. Well, yeah, maybe it is, but not to the degree here. Freaking New Mexico, and I'll say Mountainair specifically, Mountainair, New Mexico makes Chicago look like a grade school. It's that freaking bad. So, anyway, it breaks my heart. I love New Mexico. I love the culture. I love the people. But the politics here sucks the world's biggest ass on the planet. And it just amazes me that it just keeps rolling and rolling and rolling. So there isn't a solution here that I know of. The state's on the death watch list. It's been on that for years, and it's failing. I mean, when the federal government stops pumping money into this state, it's going to die. And then what's going to happen? You look at the citizens here, the bulk of them are welfare. I'm not saying that as a bad thing. It's a welfare-based state. Outside of the larger communities, there is no real tax base here. So if to pay the bills for all the bullshit they're all processing from town of Mountainair to Torrance County to the state legislature and the state proper to pay those bills, how do they get money to pay bills? Your freaking tax dollars. I mean, they've already got the people that are working here are trying to run business here. The local, county, and state governments got their hands so far down the people's pockets, they're scratching their kneecaps. You know, by the time the proverbial financial shit hits the fan, well, that's going to be down to people's ankles. Business people aren't going to stay here. They're going to leave. And that's going to take jobs, and that's going to reduce overall revenues. And that's why it's a death spiral state. So I hate it for New Mexico. New Mexico is a beautiful state. The land is beautiful. The culture here, the many cultures here are beautiful. But, you know, the people, the elitists that run this state are so into themselves versus what could be good here. They've destroyed it. And that's a damn shame. So anyway, again, I am seriously going to end this. I am so freaking sorry. I seriously am sorry for ranting. I appreciate you guys listening to me, but I would love outside eyes. I would love outside eyes to actually look at the nonsense and the financial corruption and the overall government corruption and processing in Mountainair. And if you can find it in yourselves to do that, and you have actually documented evidence to prove up on it, send in complaints to the Attorney General's office, to Department of Finance, to, you know, Governor's office. Load them up. They're not going to do, the state side's not going to do a damn thing until they get multiple complaints and lots of them with fact-driven stuff on those complaints. I invite anybody to take that opportunity to help clean that community up. You know, the small communities are the basement of the country. And if the small communities are trashed, your counties get trashed, your big cities get trashed, and your country's gone. It's not the big city stuff all the time. Who's the foundation of the nation? It's the individual, it's a small business owner, and it's rural America. Anyway, okay, I'm gone, guys. I appreciate y'all. Peace out. Thanks for suffering me. Have an awesome day. Love you guys.